So I know what you're thinking, my lawn is not ready to be mowed. Well, you would be correct. It is looking pretty sad, but that isn't gonna stop me from trying out this new awesome robot by Yuthi. This is the Yuthi Robot E18. Now, one thing that I can do with my lawn before it starts to grow is cut it. That's gonna help it grow a little bit better, and we're gonna do it with this awesome robot. Let's pull this out here, see what this looks like. Here we have base stations, some other tools and things that we'll need, but this is such a cool looking robot. Oh, and actually pretty light too. There we go. Now this is so unique because it has a few awesome features that aren't available on other robot mowers. First being is this does not have an antenna that it needs to connect to. It is able to navigate all around your yard with the vision and other sensors it has without needing an antenna, without needing wires in your yard. And so that's going to solve so many of the problems I've had in the past. And it's just going to be able to navigate around and see where it's going. So today we're going to get this set up, test it out, see how it's going. A huge thank you to you for sponsoring this video. Let's get started. Getting the charging station set up is a breeze. All I need to do, put it in the ground and put in the 8 screws with the hex wrench that was included, and this is the most solid charging station I've ever put in. Now, I will warn you right now, I have this on a slope to get into here. You aren't supposed to do that. You're supposed to have it on a flat ground. We'll see how it goes. I think it will be okay. And then it also comes with a garage top here so that it's protected from rain and the sprinklers and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Then we have it plugged in via the charger in the back. It comes with an extension to go all the way along the side of my yard, which reached perfectly to get it plugged in. I should probably just add an outlet right here. And now I see a green light there, meaning it's charged. Under here, there's this cool pattern so it knows where the base station is and can easily find that. And then here on the E18, we have the 3-wheel here. So you also have the different blades here. I'm not sure exactly why this is. It says right there, but this is going to cut the lawn, and it does come with 3 sets of blades as well. You're recommended to change those about every 3 months. And then on here, like I mentioned before, there are some cameras that it's able to navigate with and see around. And yeah, pretty light, but beefy. Here you also have some controls. So you have a quick stop button. You can see your battery, play, meaning like pause, play, keep driving around, and go home, and power. And then you even have a rain sensor here on top so it can detect if it's raining and know to navigate home. Now we need to get this charged up, and we're gonna get it connected in the Eufy security app. And here on the bottom, there's a switch we need to turn on. Now I did have to move the robot closer to Wi-Fi and then it connected instantly, but now we are ready to map our lawn. So this is actually pretty easy. We're just going to use the app here and then we're going to walk it around. So it does need to be charging to do that. So let's go ahead and start mapping. Now I found a new spot for the base station, but as soon as it was able to connect to the Wi-Fi, it hit mapping, and now it is automatically mapping the yard. It's kind of driving around, figuring out exactly where the yard is. I don't need to do anything in the app. This is pretty cool. So here on my screen, you can see that it has mapped this little area right here. You can see the charging station. It's showing the area and the minutes it's taken, as well as the current grass height it's going to cut out. I can change that from about 1 inch to 3 inches long, but we're just gonna let this kind of do its thing and show you what happens next. So full disclosure, I was fully ready to walk behind and map out my entire yard manually, but this is way better. So I'm just sitting here in the shade and it's figuring everything out all on its own, where it needs to go to get the lawn cut here in the backyard. Pretty awesome. All right, over here is the steepest part of my lawn. It can go up an 18-degree slope or 40% slope. Having no issues, really surprised it found its way all the way over here to map out this area as well. Here's the progress so far. It takes a second to update, but it's looking very accurate. And it looks like it's just about done. I love how close it's getting to the edge without me even telling it where to go. It's just doing it all on its own, checking the rest of the area. Then it's going to head back to the charging station and we can map the next yard. Now in this next area I'm mapping, it connects directly to the neighbor's yard. So I'm just going to stop it from going over there and hopefully that will let it know it shouldn't map this side, only this side. To make this much easier, I'm just grabbing a table that I'm going to put in front of it. That should help it map a little better. It has now reached back at the base station. Map has been saved. Let me show you how to add another area. So we're going to select edit map, and we're going to use the multi-zone pathway, and we're going to drive to the new path, and then it will begin mapping that path. So we're going to select add pathway. It's now going to allow us to navigate to where we need to go. So then I'm going to navigate to where I want it to go from this lawn to the next lawn. I'm going to set start point, and then it's going to figure out where it's at. All right, it found where it is. Now we're going to drive it to where we want it to start on the next lawn. We have arrived, set endpoint, and then it will begin mapping out this area. And it has finished mapping, came back to the dock all on its own. It is now charging, and we are ready to mow. I now have mapped out the yard. It's showing I have 222 meters squared. Now this model supports up to 1,200 meters squared, or 0.3 acres. The E15 supports up to 800 meters squared, or 0.2 acres. Then here it's going to take about 53 minutes to mow, and I currently have the grass height set at 75 millimeters. So a few things: you can see the path where it's going to travel between right there. I can set a boundary, so I don't want it to go into the neighbor's lawn, so I added a boundary there. I might need to realign that before we get started. And then here you can see the path to the front. It did not, for whatever reason, map this section. Not sure why, but it did create the paths between the two. Then we have the option to go in here to the settings, and I can do a few things like adjust the grass height. I can change the edge spacing, so that's how far between each cut it's going to do. So that's really nice if you want to make sure it's overlapping. We can do path spacing as well. So here we can change it from 12 centimeters to 10 centimeters or 8 centimeters. So we're just going to keep it in the middle there. Then here we have travel speed. You get slow, standard, and fast. We'll keep it at standard for now. And then we have blade speed, so how fast the blades are going to spin. And then you have path directions. So you can come in here and change the angle of which way you want to go. So it's just going to change that for the entire yard all at once. So kind of cool to see that. We'll just keep it, actually, let's make it this way. Let's see how that goes. And save it there. And then here on the main screen, we have the option to do the entire yard, or we can tap zone and we can select a specific zone that we want to use. Now, if I don't want to use the app to start mowing, I do have the option to come on here onto the mower and hold down the play and the check at the same time to start mowing as well. Then you have the options to set child lock by holding down the home and the check mark for a few seconds. So cool that you have all those quick options there. And you have the emergency stop button right here. Start mowing. And they're automatically adjusting the cutting height before it leaves, and it will keep it all the same around the entire yard. And here's the longest area right now in my lawn. So this will be our before, and then we'll see what it looks like once it's done. So here it's just trucking along. Does a great job navigating around so far. No issues going over the edge, which I've had on other mowers. So pretty impressed by how well this is able to navigate with its vision system that it has built in. This is using the VFSD 1.0 to navigate around, totally wire and antenna free. You are watching Yuthi Robot Lawn Mower E18 cut the grass on this fine spring day. The sun is setting soon, but the sounds of the mower cause the animals to fall asleep. All right, the mow speed is now set to slow. This is if you really want it to get fine-tuned, making sure it's cutting everything properly. And now let's increase the travel speed to fast. Really cruising now. And here on the phone, you can see where it has mowed. So if I zoom in here, you can see the area it has done. And it looks like once it's done mowing, it should do a final pass around the edge to clean up how that looks over there. So I'm really excited for that. But so far, we're about halfway done with this back section, mowing 38.9 meters squared in 31 minutes. Now that it's completed mowing the lawn, it's going around doing the edge pass in this area. And there you go. Again, this is the highest length at about 3 inches. It can go all the way down to 1 inch. So I think this looks great. It is now time to test out the obstacle avoidance. So let's say a kid comes into the yard, looks like kid didn't stay there, but objects going in its way, how is it able to navigate around them? Perfect example right there. Something moves, it is able to see them. So this is able to detect all kinds of different objects, from different yard toys to different animals, so that it can navigate around them. So here, if we just make a little maze, see how it goes with navigating around them. So far, pretty good. Now, we didn't get quite finished mowing today, but one of the features that it does have is understanding when it is nighttime, and it will automatically dock at night. This is to help make sure that it's able to navigate while it can see. It did turn on a little light to be able to get all the way back here, but then this is helpful so that it prevents not injuring any animals that might be out on your yard at night or anything like that. So it was able to safely get back to the dock. It's going to recharge and it'll be ready to go tomorrow. Once it went back, it also gave me a notice that it updated the map. So as it was going around, it was able to make any adjustments that it had previously made when it did the original mapping, which is so nice to have, that it's continually learning. And here is the final look at the lawn. It did a great job. I know there's not much lawn here to cut, but going around the edges, so impressive. Over here where it was thick, had no problem, came out very smooth. And even in some rough patches around the corner, it had no problem going through all the leaves that I still need to clean up over on this side. And because I did the pattern to go this way, it did go back and forth along this path. I liked how little it was, being able to easily navigate. It had no problem with the slant here. I don't know if you can see what kind of slant that is, but it worked really well over here. It's the next day, and loading up the app, here we can see that it has kind of grayed out everywhere it mowed there in the backyard, and it had finished some of the side yard here. So let's go ahead and see what else we can get finished. Now, one thing is you can edit the map right here, and if we go into the pathways, I can tap on a path, and then I have the option to delete it by pushing the X here, and then I could go and create a new pathway with a new zone if I ever need to do that. All right, so now let's go back here. We're gonna finish cleaning the entire lawn and hit start. Now overall, this is a robot mower that I have been waiting for forever. Every time I went out with one of those other mowers and I'd go and make the map when I had to drive behind it and kind of remote control it, I was always like, why can't it just see the edge of the lawn and then cut based on that. Well, that's exactly what the Yuthi Lawn Robot does. I'm so impressed by how it was able to automatically map everything in the yard, and I didn't have to go through and make any adjustments other than making that boundary line between my lawn and my neighbor's lawn, which was so simple to do. Now it knows exactly where that is, and it's not going to cross over into their yard. It was able to mow this full back section with about half the charge, so there's still plenty more to go through and do the rest of the lawn, which is really great. So I love that we have the option of the app that I can just simply come in here and turn it on as well if I need to, and it works great. Love that there's no wire in the ground, no RTK to deal with. I have had a few times where it didn't connect to the Wi-Fi, so I had to turn on a hotspot, but overall, really cool product. If you have any further questions about the Yuthi Lawn Robot E18 or E15, let me know down in the comments below. And if you want to pick one up, make sure you check out the link down in the description. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.